Good morning. The short version is my name is Godwin. So that's the only thing you should take from there. I'm going to do this a bit differently. I'm going to need help, which is why I'm not going to use two mic. I'm not weird like that. I'm going to need help, so I need volunteers. Thank you. Sorry, someone will help you fix this. What's your name? Victoria. Okay, Victoria, I'll come back to you in a bit. I'm not as nice as the last speaker. As you can surmise from my topic, it's going to be a bit complicated. There's a lot of English in there already to start with. I'll try and make this interactive. But first of all, let me say thank you to Friesland for the value you've been providing to families since we were kids, and the value you're providing to us as experts. Then to the department, thank you for the value you have given me. A lot of what has been read were formed in this department, and I probably would not have achieved all of that without my teachers who are seated here. So thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot your name. The person help you. Victoria, okay. Victoria and I are going to start a business, right? Victoria, we're going to start a business. Victoria and I, we've seen that, there's this car park, we want to monetize it. So we've come to the head of department, we have shown her a business plan, and we've set up a cafe, a shop in front there. We're going to be selling low-calorie, healthy foods, like, please give her, like parfaits and smoothies and whatnot. And in order for us to get attention, we'll be offering free workout classes on Sunday morning. No, Sunday mornings, people go to church. Sunday evenings, right? Every Sunday evening, free, just come, wear your shoe. We'll do that, we'll play music, but meanwhile, we'll be selling our parfait. We've been doing that for 3 years now. Victoria, you need to have hired somebody 3 years ago. Can you hire somebody quickly? Just point to somebody next to you. Okay, what's the name of our first employee? Rachel. So Victoria helped us hire Rachel 3 years ago. Now, Rachel came to us this year and said, Victoria and Bamsa, economy is hard, and I've been working for you for 3 years. I need a salary increase. Dr. Tilesh, you also helped me here with answers coming online. Should we increase her salary? She's been working for us for 3 years. Should we increase her salary? Yes? Any no's? Any no's? Dr. Tilesh, any no's online?
So far, okay. No. We have yes.
Okay, so everybody says we should increase her salary. Okay, so that's a hypothetical situation. There was a real situation in my former place of work. So I'm known for always supporting young people, whatnot. And then one day, all the interns came and said they wanted to see me. I thought I was in trouble. Maybe I'd said something. I have a big mouth. I said maybe I've said something wrong or something. And then they came. They were like, Bamsa, see, Lagos is expensive. NYSC gives us 15K. The company gives us 35K. It's not enough to live in Lagos. We want you to go and meet management for us and tell them to increase they actually called it a salary, to increase our salary. That's a real situation. What do you think I did? Anybody? Say again? I will evaluate how well they're working. Okay, that's a nice one. Anybody else? No, two simple answers. Did I fight for them? Did I not fight for them? Or did I do something in the middle? I did not fight for them. Who said that? Sorry? I need to reevaluate my life options. look at this article. It's on LinkedIn. Should students consider paying for internships? There's a bit of a debate here. On the one side, a lot of students who go for internships expect to be paid. In the middle, especially in the States, they say, look, we're providing you with value. There's no reason for us to pay you, right? And they really provide you with value. On the extreme, and I think I've seen a couple of these out of India, and I can't remember the other country, they say, look, we are giving you value. You have no value to give us. You pay us for your internships. And it's actually a thing. There are some ethical conversations here. But considering this, what answer should I have given them, even though now I'm thinking you guys will just think I'm a terribly mean person? Who thinks I should have fought for them? Nobody? No. Don't think for me. Think for yourself, your values and everything. Dr. Kayode thinks I should have fought for them. Who else? Who thinks? Okay. Not a lot of people. You guys aren't very nice. I didn't fight for them. Instead, I had this conversation with them about defining value. I had just this first one with them, but I will have two more with you, and which is, how do you give value? And then I'll discuss with you how do you develop value in yourself, and then we might talk about how do you destroy value. There's no need for you to write. A lot of these things are things that I don't want you to believe immediately. I want you to go and think for yourself and maybe ask a few other questions and make your decisions yourself. So let's quickly start with how do you provide value? Before we go too far, let's clear something. Whenever we think of value, a lot of us think of money. Now, in research, there's a difference between what people tell you they do and what they actually do. The intention-action gap, right, is what we call it. If I asked you, is value money, all of you will say no. But the truth is, the way we behave, we make money synonymous to value. And it isn't. Money is a representation of value. Money is a receipt for value. Money is an IOU of value, and these are abstractions, and I invite you to go and do your own extra studies. As the last speaker said, you should also learn to read for yourself and understand what money is. But money is not necessarily value, and entrepreneurs understand this a lot, right? A Warren Buffett, for example, might sit somewhere and look at this company and where they are and the leaders that they have and the decisions they are making, and look at the global economy and look at the coup that has happened and what it's going to mean for the materials these guys need or the materials they are providing, and say this company is going to be worth much more in a couple of years. Go buy their shares. There was no conversation of money in all of that. It was just a value assessment. Now, bonus. I will give you bonus very early. There's something called the time value of money. And if you lean into finance a bit, it might be useful for you. The summary of it is the value of 100 naira today is more than the value of 100 naira tomorrow. And you have to understand that. There is actually a calculation to determine how much your 100 naira today is going to be worth in 5.62 years down the line if you invest it in X business. There is actually a calculation for it. So you have to begin to learn the language of money and what it really is. That's your assignment. In giving value, you also have to know how people perceive value. When I joined my first corporate, I joined as a nutritionist. I was working mostly with marketeers. I was trained here. I knew my stuff. But you see, for the first 6 months, every time I open my mouth to talk, there will be this silence. And you know what the silence means. It's like, who is this? And what is he saying? I began to have self-doubt. What did I do? I started to attend all their meetings, including the ones they didn't invite me to. So I was sitting in marketing meetings. Sometimes they were asking me, why are you here? Like, I'm trying to see if I can learn and give value. About 6 months to 9 months into my job, whenever I make a proposal, now they want to discuss the proposal. You know why? I had begun to understand the way they perceive value. The value you think you are given is different from the value that I think I want. And those are two different things. So for example, just concrete, practical example. Marketeers want to talk in absolutes. I was at Unilever at the time, and we fortified Knorr cubes, or Knorr, as we call it in the market, with iron. And some of the things they wanted to say was, if you eat Knorr cubes, you'll be cured of iron deficiency anemia. I'm like, no. It's a tiny 5-gram cube. It won't cure you of anything like that. They were like, okay, if you eat Knorr cubes, it will prevent iron deficiency anemia. I'm like, no. And they're looking at me like, so why did we give you guys money to put iron in this thing? Which is a valid question. And I began to see that a lot of us nutritionists told them what they couldn't do, and I had to change that language. So when I go into a meeting and I know that I'm going to have to tell them the things they can't do, I'm already cracking my head about options. What can they do? What are the negotiations? What are the concessions? Where else can we go? And then I began to add value. There's also a value differential. Where is value and where is value missing? Sometimes where you are looking is not where you should be looking. I structured a partnership with UNICEF, and I'm very proud of that partnership, to be honest. It came into fruition after I had left the company. And both UNICEF and the company called me to say, oh, look, your baby has been born. I'm like, yeah, that was me. But that partnership, if you look at the history of partnerships we had been structuring, at Unilever, we're big on sustainability. It was usually with marketing and with the brands and all that. But where I saw the opportunity was in HR, which we hadn't done any partnerships directly with HR before. And when you think of UNICEF, and I said I did a partnership with Unilever, you're definitely not thinking HR. You see what I mean? But you have to understand exactly where the differences in value are and what people are looking for. From the first point, you have to talk to them. You have to get close to them to understand what their value is. And then you have to see where the value differential is and how you move things there. And then the exchange of value, which goes back to the bonus point on money. The value you are looking for sometimes is not money. If I said I'll give you 1 million naira, right? I'd hire you and give you 1 million naira. Or I'd hire you and give you maybe 200,000, but you'd work as the strategic assistant to, say, Dangote, for example. I'd expect you to take the Dangote one. What you'd learn is more than 800K. But I mean, there are a couple of things you also consider, whether the 200 naira can buy fuel for you to get to Dangote's office. Now, as we talk of value, I'll leave this proverb with you. Idande achini by Siaba Kazata Fidoki. We all think a horse is more expensive than a chicken until there's no food to eat and you need one to slaughter. Suddenly, the chicken is more valuable than the horse. And so you have to see value as not just attached to the monetary price of things. And then the third one, how do you create value? This is not exhaustive, it is not even scientific. I just came up with these bullets, and you can come up with yours. But the way that I have seen most value created, sometimes it's created by invention. And you typically find this in the sciences. Someone invents something, patents it. Usually it's patentable, and it's kind of new. They say nothing is new, but we kind of concede that this is kind of new. In some other areas, it is by addition. Hey, I've run out of time. Is this 8 minutes left? Oh, thank you. I have time. In some cases, it's by addition, right? You are here, we have moved nutrition to this point, and you want to move it to this point. we will celebrate you. It's one step forward, right? It's by addition. And sometimes that addition can be to move value from here to here. So for example, the previous speaker, what you do not know about her is she's absolutely brilliant. I don't know how many nutritionists have successfully put out their own movie, their own documentary. I thought I was reporting her to herself. I've been looking for that documentary to watch. I haven't seen it because I watched the trailer and it was very emotional. And I mean, when a trailer gets you, you're kind of looking for the movie and I couldn't. Please, can you remind, the movie has a beautiful name. I'd like to follow movie. The name of the documentary is Blackie, Lefty, and Yamlet. I won't tell you what it is about. Just go on YouTube and Google. In fact, when I first saw the name, I was like, who is this? I had to leave everything I was doing in the middle of the day to go and look for yam legs. You know, very interesting. And what she has done is move value from the movie industry to, it wasn't really about nutrition. It was about self-esteem, you know, and she moved value there. And I think that is value addition. There's also value combination, which is the one that I think I'm a bit good at. And which is, I learned it from a friend of mine. His nickname was Virus. We were on campus together. Virus had this weird habit. He's Igbo, and that is a compliment. We'd be going somewhere, and then he'd see you, and you say, oh, you need a phone. And it's been in the middle of a conversation. I probably didn't pay attention. And then we'd get here, and then you'd say you need money. The next thing, he's negotiating with you that, hey, why don't you sell your phone? And you're like, this one, that one, this one, that one. Okay, how much? And then you agree that you sell it for, I don't know, Dr. Afolami's phone is very expensive. Should have picked somebody else. But let's say 1 million naira. Actually, you can't be broke and be using 1 million naira phone. But let's say 1 million naira. And then you say, okay, 800,000. Then he comes back to you, who says you need a phone. And you're like, and I saw a phone, oh, it's 900,000. Oh. Like, no, this one, that one, maybe 880. So he picks phone here, he gives it here, gives him money. Me and him, including me that does not even know where it's going, I'm just looking like this thing. We are living with 180, Abi? Guess what he does? He'll give me 80K there. And one day I had to ask him, why are you giving me? Is it because I'm your friend? And, you know, would say things like, I will see, hand go collect, or, you know, things like that. But what he was really doing was he was investing in me. And I paid back in different ways that I only later began to realize, but that's another conversation. In good ways, I didn't do anything illegal. What I did with Unilever and Nestle was value combination. I didn't create anything new. I didn't really move anything forward. But I saw a value difference with one organization, and I saw a value difference with my organization, and I saw the potential. And then I fought for it, and they both saw it, and I kept thinking through, how do I make this easy? How do I make this easy for this organization? And by the time I left, it was pretty much on autopilot. And you know, when they did the launch and everybody did the launch, they called me and I was like, yeah, that's good. I'd love to do another one. And I'm doing others. But the one that I think you should pay attention to is the emotional one. This is the one I'm not very good at. When somebody comes to you and tells you, you can do this, you are the champion, you are wanting, and you pay for it. What exactly did you pay for? The truth is, people like me may be like, you're wasting money, but you're not. He's giving you value. He has not created anything new. You know, I was joking with my brother, and we were making fun of religion. And I said, religion is pretty much someone telling you, bring your Bible, let me interpret it to you. I mean, pastors. But it's a joke, and it feels like what pastors are doing is not valuable. But the truth is, it is valuable. They step in at a point where your abilities to see beyond just the material and the A plus B is equals to C stops. And in some cases, you need that push. I don't want to talk about religion, it's not particularly my area of expertise, but there is value there. And there's a lot that we can learn, especially from there. Motivational speakers. When you re-listen to everything they've said to you logically, some of it doesn't even make sense. But you leave feeling pumped and you want to take on life. That you should pay for. Right? Oh, you don't agree? Okay. Now, let's take an intermission. I'd like to leave you with this as well, because I also see it. We get somewhere and we think, oh, I've done this and they're not appreciating me. Like the person who's worked for us for 3 years. And that's because there's something, if you are into behavior economics or behavior psychology, you would know Daniel Kahneman and Richard Taylor. They've written lots of books. I recommend you read Thinking Fast and Slow. But there's this paper they wrote, Anomalies, the endowment effect, loss aversion, and status quo bias. They're quite similar, but a bit different. And what it is telling you is, and there are lots of biases that exist. These are just 3. What it is telling you is, the thing that I have is kind of more valuable to me than the one that I don't have. And there's a way to interpret it in this context. With the endowment effect, this microphone that I have, the value I put on it is a bit more than the microphone that I don't have. With the loss aversion, if I lose this 100 naira microphone, the pain I feel is more than if I had bought a 100 naira microphone. It's the same thing. You would think, it should be the same. But for some reason, that pain of loss is worse. And then with status quo bias, they're all similar. But what is happening here is, when you come to your... Sorry? Okay. When you come to... Can I have 3 more minutes? Okay. When you come to your negotiation, you should also understand what is happening in the head of your employer, right? What they have is valuable. You're asking them to give up their money that they could use for other things in translating to profits to you on a promise that you will deliver more. It's a bit hard. Plus, when they have now increased your salary, they are now going to have to worry about all the other employees that she hired who are now thinking they're entitled to salary increase because the economy is bad. There's just quite a bit more. So you have to think in that context. Also, let's assume the person asking us for salary increase. In that 3 years, she had come to us to say, you know what, sports center, lots of people there. What are they having? Let's open an extension. She helps us open an extension, trains the people there. She says, she's like, arts theater. They don't do anything on Sundays. Let's start a Roomba class. In arts theater, they have lots of parking space. We can get a lot of people with cars who can pay for what we do. And she does all these extensions. After a while, that becomes our model. That becomes the status quo. The half-life has arrived. She's like, but I did all those things before. Yeah, but that's what everybody's doing now. That has become the new status quo. Which takes us to the next point, and which is how to develop value. How much are you worth? One time I asked myself this question. I actually put a price to it. And I think at that time, I was still maybe 400 level, and I put $1,200, which to be honest was a completely stupid price because I wasn't even worth half that. But we all know this guy, right? I asked the Bing AI tool, I was like, how much is Elon Musk worth? And is it worth his time to pick up $100 that he dropped? Sorry, this is not very clear, but it says, according to Forbes, Musk is worth 244 billion, as at the date I put. If we assume that he works 120 hours a week, as he claims, and that he works 52 weeks a year, then he would work a total of so and so, and he's worth $39 million per hour. When you break that down, it says if Elon Musk were to drop $100 bill, it would take him less than a fraction of a second to earn it back. So from a purely financial perspective, it might not be worth his time to pick it. I put this here because there's actually a way, and there are different ways for you to put a value to yourself. But when you value yourself, don't value just what you have now, value also what you potentially can be. The kind of investments you're putting in yourself, the kind of learning that you're putting in yourself, and value yourself. So we're going to assume that the price you have put on yourself is invaluable, right? You put a price, but it's really expensive. You are very invaluable. What would you feed this invaluable, value-creating beast that you are? And I use beast in a positive sense. This is the Akal Teke. You might not see it well, but this horse breed is called the golden horse, and it's glistening. That's the breed. If you have this horse, what are you going to feed it? So if you are invaluable, what are you going to feed yourself? And the last speaker talked about it. What would you read? And I hear a lot of people now say, oh, I don't read. I'm like, that is fine. How do you increase your value? Is it only on Twitter? What are you listening to? Do you do audiobooks, YouTube? I met a tailor. He has never apprenticed anywhere. So beautiful natives from the Congo, learned everything on YouTube. Where are you deriving your value? How are you creating that value that you're going to use to negotiate? And if you are this expensive, how would you care for yourself? This is probably the most expensive airplane in the world. It's called the B2 Spirit. What kind of engine oil will you put in this plane if they put it in your care? The most expensive in the world. What kind of engine oil are you putting in yourself? You are in nutrition. What are you eating? Before you go out and preach, what are you eating? What are you drinking? How much physical activity are you getting? How are you taking care of your mind, the total health definition? How are you taking care of your spirit? How would you care for $1 billion machine if that is what we're assuming you are? And that brings us to the last point. If you are this expensive, and we have been defining her all morning, can we that started our shop actually afford her? Because now she's come to us, she's also saying, look, we've been successful in Sports Center, we're successful in art theater, let us create franchises across the country. And she's still asking us for a salary increase. Do we deserve her or does she deserve us? And so you have to put value on yourself so you can actually arrive to the point where you can ask yourself this question, can this organization actually even afford me? And it's not just a salary thing. Please don't start resigning yet, because I can see some Indian nods. So let's take another intermission. A lot of this is sounding very capitalist. And it's balanced by this slide. And which is that when you understand this value part of the conversation, then you can come to this side of the conversation. Social justice is based on the values of fairness, equity, respect for diversity, access to social protection, the application of human rights in all spheres of life, including in the workplace. And this is why we should increase her salary, even before we start talking of the value that she contributes. This is why Elon Musk will pick the $100 bill. This is why we do right first, without necessarily applying the economic value to it. This is what balances all of that. But the problem is this is where we want to start, and that is not fair. This is what balances the other parts out. Give value first, or at least have value so that this conversation is legitimate. But you cannot always come and be like, Bamsa, they're paying us 35,000, go and fight for us. And all you do as interns is come to work and make photocopy and watch. I see you people and use our Wi-Fi to watch Netflix. And you want me to get up, use my social capital to go and fight with management. We have to rethink that. And this is the end of my slide. There are a few recommended reading I'll give you. There's this book, The Essence of Value. If you're creating products, it's got about 80 ideas of how you can position your value. Excellent book. If you want to be successful as a business person, found something, a business, I encourage you to go on Twitter and just type in how to get rich without being lucky. It's a tweet storm. Everything there, gold. It will be useful for you if that is what you want to do. I also talked about understanding what money is. If you Google it, some of the stuff you'll find that are written a bit dense, look for videos on YouTube. They're very colorful, they explain it, it's free. And then, if you're into finance and you want to understand the time value of money, just Google it. And if you want to get a bit deeper into finance, then Google finance for non-finance managers. They're free, lots of free courses titled exactly that. And I hope this has been useful to you. Thank you.